Hello, can you hear me?
Holy shit. Not only can I hear you, I can feel you in this club tonight.
Sorry about that, boy. I didn't know you were trying to contact me on Discord.
Don't worry about that. That was all my fault. No, yeah, I feel like the Discord goes over the airwaves. Hold on, let me just make sure. Say something.
What up? It's your boy Campbell, a.k.a. Only Here for Sawyer.
That is it. That is you. That is what you're doing here. Oh, my gosh. Campbell, it's so good to have you here for what I'm calling Brain Phantasm McGasm. I don't know. I'm working on the name still. This is the first of many segments, hopefully.
Oh, man, boy, I hope I can live up to that name.
I hope I can, honestly. I think I might have bitten off more than I could chew. Thomas Campbell Arnold, the man with 3 first names. Tell us, what do you do for a living?
So I do science. I study patients that have epilepsy, and I use MRIs and intracranial implants in order to try to figure out what part of their brain is causing them to have seizures, and then we can think about ways that we can maybe intervene in their brain network to help relieve them of their seizures.
That's pretty cool, Campbell. Seizures are not good news, so it's good that you're there to, combat that. You're out there. You're like a brain wizard, like a mind flayer, but like a good mind flayer. Like if you could be a mind flayer that was like chaotic good. So I know you came here to talk to us about something like fairly specific today. What did you what do you want to talk about? Tell us some brain science.
Well, I mean, brain science is important, but what I think is really important is that I warn you against the impending zombie apocalypse.
Oh, well, someone had to.
Yeah, so this past year, scientists actually were able to resurrect some pig brains that had actually been dead for a couple hours.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so that's coming for you. I
can take a pig.
Well, you don't even have to take the whole pig. It's just the brain.
Oh, okay. I can find a pig brain. I'm actually pretty out of shape lately, so maybe not, but we'll see. I'll have you there.
Well, anyways, what they did was they kind of took these brains that had been taken from pigs, and they hooked them up to these kind of almost like Matrix-style machines that just pumped them full of these nutrient fluids. And after about 4 hours, the pig brains were still able to be brought back to life in some senses. So they weren't conducting electrical activity that you might associate with normal brains, but the cells themselves were alive and carrying out their normal cellular functions.
Define normal brain. Do normal brains have to generate electricity? Because I'm pretty sure the only thing I generate is like Four Loko and beats.
Yeah, so generally, your brain does generate electricity.
Really? It comes from the brain?
Neurons. Yeah. So as your neurons fire, they pump out a bunch of ions, and they take in a bunch of ions, and that causes currents to move throughout the brain. So you actually, as a human being, generate electricity. The Matrix was not wrong.
Oh my God. The Matrix. Oh, well, so you're telling me right now that if my phone needs a charge, I could definitely make a small indent into my cranial cavity, and boom, there you go, back on Twitter.
Yeah, you can charge one iPhone Plus with about 99 years of human life.
That's amazing. Now I know what I'm worth. Now I know why Steve Jobs started iPhone. That makes sense to me. Wow, that's incredible. Yeah. Well, when the zombie apocalypse comes, at least I'll have a full phone. Yeah.
And the cool thing about this research is they think that they can actually use this maybe to help patients that have had strokes or other neurovascular diseases where the brain loses blood flow for an extended period of time. Wow. And this might be a way to kind of bring patients back and regain that tissue. Yeah.
Jeez, I'd like to be a zombie. I mean, I'd like to try some other options first. Maybe werewolf, but zombies up there.
Well, I mean, I've seen you look like a zombie a couple times.
Yeah, you've seen that. That's not That's not anything new. All right. Well, I mean, any other like brain science stuff you got going on that you've been learning about lately?
Yeah. So I got something else I think is near and dear to the hearts or the minds of a lot of our listeners. I know you've got a lot of festival kids on here.
Oh well, and they're everywhere. You can't escape them.
Yeah.
These dirty festival kids.
There's one thing that festival kids love. It's acid.
Oh, acid? You're telling me you know about acid, Thomas Campbell Arnold?
Yeah. So fry your egg in a pan, man. This is your brain on acid.
This is your brain on acid. I wish I had that visual right now. I wish I had like some kind of like GIF to pull up. Brain on acid time.
Yes, so some scientists in the UK actually did a study pretty recently where they administered acid to a couple of participants and stuck them in an fMRI scanner or an MRI scanner, which measures functional activity of the brain. And it's surprising. You would think that these studies have been done a long time ago, but actually since acid and other drugs are scheduled by the DA, it's very difficult to do research on them.
I forget how funds are legal.
Yeah. So this was actually just done a couple years ago. And what they showed was that there's this network in your brain that kind of controls how sensory information is communicated between different brain regions. It's called the default mode network. So you can kind of think of it as like the manager of the brain. You know, it says you send that here, right?
Right.
And so what they kind of showed was that when someone was given LSD, basically the manager just got fired, right? And so it's just chaos in the workplace. And what happens is all these sensory regions just start spamming their message throughout the rest of the brain. So the whole brain just lights up because no one's coordinating the information transfer.
Okay.
And so
where are the hallucinations coming from?
Yeah, so kind of one of the schools of thoughts behind this research is that the hallucinations are actually, other sensory processing regions sending information to kind of like maybe your visual cortex that usually processes your vision, and it's trying to figure out what to do with this signal that it's not used to processing, and it interpolates it as some kind of visual. And so they think that that's why it also kind of spans different sensory modalities. And actually what it is it's just regions that normally process vision or auditory sounds or smells. They're all being given this new information they're not used to, and they're still trying to process it for you.
Interesting. So they're really not coming from nowhere. I mean, they are coming from you. I mean, they're all, it's entirely inside your brain. Like they're like, so how do you smell or see a thing that isn't there? Like, what is your brain doing to bring this image?
Well, so this is a really fascinating topic because actually there's a whole field of research of people who try to take one sensory modality and get another sensory modality to process it. So
is that like synesthesia kind of?
It's kind of, they're related concepts, but like imagine if you were blind, right? One way that maybe we could teach you to see, right, is like you can like read through Braille, right? You touch those bumps, right? And you can kind of read those as words, right? Well, you can actually do the same thing with visual input. So if you take a camera and you encode the pixels from that camera as different stimulations on somebody's body, right? Just like little pricks, the brain can actually interpret that as a visual image. So there's these devices that people will create where it's like a sensor you put on your tongue, and it shocks your tongue based on the pixel arrays that come out of a camera. And this can actually help people who have lost their ability to see again. Wow. And so what you're doing is you're rerouting that sensory information through a new sensory modality. It's getting to the parts of your brain that are used to processing visual information, but it's getting there through your sense of touch, which you still have.
Interesting. That's pretty crazy. I mean, does like the idea of neuroplasticity have anything to do with that? Just like, using
Oh
the
yeah,
brain?
Absolutely. That's that is this is something that prior to the era and understanding that neuroplasticity was a thing, would not have been conceived of as a possible research project. It's fundamental because you are rerouting your sensory cortices to process new information.
It's crazy how science begets science like that.
Yeah. And the other thing that people think that the kind of this work on hallucinogens could be useful for is kind of overcoming rigid patterns of thought or behavior. So maybe overcoming some mental disorders such as depression or addiction or obsessive compulsive disorder.
Wait, so you're telling me all those Silicon Valley assholes out at fucking Burning Man are actually onto something?
Yeah, it's their cure.
Well, that makes sense to me now. Now I get it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's a fascinating area of research. Especially the stuff with rerouting sensory processing through different sensory modalities. I think that's, the coolest.
I think those are the coolest words I've probably heard today.
Yeah. Well, I got one more. I got one more thing I'd like to tell you about.
Please do.
Want to hear.
Please do. Absolutely.
So, in the past year, another big thing that has happened is we've actually created the first brain-to-brain interface system.
Oh my God.
That's right. We don't even we can get rid of these shells.
You're telling me
we don't need these bodies anymore.
I do hate flapping these fat gum sheaths.
Yeah. So researchers at the University of Washington cut out the middlemen, so to speak, and they hooked up a researcher up to an EEG, which is a device that reads brain waves, and they extracted his thoughts. And they sent them over to the internet to another lab where they had a second researcher hooked up to this device called a TMS. And what that does is it stimulates the brain. Ooh. And so it took the thoughts from the one guy and then it stimulated that same, not the same, it stimulated the same region on the other guy. And it caused him to actually carry out the actions that the original guy thought of.
Like mind control?
Like mind control.
That's so scary.
Mind over body.
I was under the impression we already had that because sometimes I get this idea in my head. The government is like directly telling me in my brain that I need to have another beer. I feel like it's outside of my body. Like it comes in, and I figured that was mind control. But you're telling me they're just now getting to this.
Well, yeah. So I mean, the government's about 100 years ahead of academia.
Yeah.
We have to figure everything else out on our own, right?
You could have told us.
Yeah. So we're just getting to it now. But yeah, it's interesting. They actually think that this can be used to enable disabled people to kind of communicate their needs and wants.
That's incredible. That is actually that's some good science right there.
Terrible disorder called locked-in syndrome.
I've seen a House episode about this with Mos Def. Mos Def is in it.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Does he have locked-in syndrome?
Yeah, he does. He is able to blink once, and then Hugh Laurie is like, this man has lock it in syndrome, pop lock and drop it syndrome, and everyone's like, no, he's dead, and he wasn't, and it's good because Mos Def is like, he's like, please don't fucking kill me.
Does he rap his internal monologue?
No. His internal monologue is actually, it's weird. He only thinks in the voice of Tow Mater from Cars 2.
Oh no.
Yeah, it wasn't the best episode I've seen.
Well. Finally, we can get Mos Def some relief.
Yes, finally. We're glad he's out of that in that locked in syndrome. I know a thing or two about being locked in. But we're not talking about that today. So thank you so much
I tried to steer away from all that.
Oh, yeah. No, you did. It's crazy how we were talking earlier. Tori helped us got out of our minds by going deeper into our minds. And then you brought us right the hell back out and fucking galaxy brain shit. So thank you so much for that, Thomas Campbell Arnold, the man with 3 names.
Yeah, no problem, man. Anytime you need somebody to kill your brain, set it on fire, and then use it to control somebody else's body, I'm here for you, man.
Honestly, I had a feeling. I knew that, being roommates and best friends for life wasn't my choice. I knew it was you. You're controlling my brain by being so awesome. That's brain control for you right there.
Yeah, what can I say? The government's 100 years ahead of academia.
Oh, I knew it. Oh, my God. Campbell's the man. All right, Thomas Campbell Arnold, thank you so much for joining us for this. This was fantastic. Let's do this again. Let's do this again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'd love to come on the show again.
All right, awesome. Well, enjoy. Campbell took some very valuable science time away today to be on the show because he's got a project today. So go do that. Go do that project, Campbell.
Will do. Have a good one.
Bud.
Bye.
What a fucking guy. I love that man. He's my best friend. He's getting married soon. Tell him congratulations, Campbell, the man with 3 first names. All right, coming up next, we're going to play some more music. I have a file here called Feels. I actually don't know what it is. It might be one of my songs. It might be someone else's. I'm really bad at labeling stuff sometimes, so keep it locked. It's Radio Wyrd.